don't know where to start really, because we had a very strange introduction. But my first point of contact was somebody who had been eulogising about your particular style of getting stuff done, and particularly motivating people to getting the right stuff done. And I think it was the first time I'd heard of the phrase around mindset. So I came to an event that you were hosting, and at that point I knew there was something that I could get from you, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. But it was like the initial seed of something in my head that really started my thinking to change. I'm going to say quite radically, but it was a very slow process. So from the first point of contact to the second point of contact, where you really it was almost like the seed had been planted and now there was a bit of watering on it, and the trigger words that you used just seemed to feed something inside me that motivated me to start thinking a lot better of myself. And actually, if anything, that's really what I've got out of this whole thing, is the way I've changed, thinking about me and how I perceive myself in a wider business context. So I now see myself as an entrepreneur, whereas before I just used to see myself as someone who was looking for another job, or even looking to work for myself.
So has it benefited your production in terms of what you produce and do now? You seem to be quite motivated and pretty full on in terms of
Complete focus. This is if I could just think of one gift that you have given me, and it really has been almost like a gift. It's been complete focus, it's come in a very unusual way, because actually the conversations that I've had with you allowed me to, almost like having a veil lifted. It allowed me to see some things quite clearly. So I was looking for something and I wasn't really sure what it was. And with you, quite subconsciously or perhaps naturally, just using certain triggers have really unleashed a part of my psyche that was definitely there, but it had been tramped on and pushed to one side, and the everyday living had kind of got in the way of me knowing that I can do what I'm currently doing. And I'd forgotten that. I'd set up 2 businesses previously, very successfully, and sold them. And it was almost like that was a chapter in my life that had to happen to someone else. And the one thing that you did for me was you kind of reminded me of that. And you didn't even know that that was part of my previous existence. So the way that you understand the psychology of the way that people are thinking, in terms of that whole, it is just thinking, and that just because you think it doesn't make it so. That single phrase has really released me to go back to the person that I was when I was massively productive and totally focused and very passionate about what I did. And now I'm having looked for something that I was passionate about. I've completely changed my focus and I found something and then got passionate about it, and being able to look at that in a slightly different way, which is, I mean, that's really the kind of gift that you gave me. It was almost like I used to see things in blue, now I see things in pink. It's just a completely different way of looking at things. Seriously, you saw me on that day, 15th of January, day changed my life. I was sat there and I was crying inside. And the only thing that stopped me was humiliating myself in front of a whole load of people that I'd just sat there and helped every single person on that table. and I couldn't help myself. And you came over and you said to me, what's your problem? And actually my problem was me. You know, my problem was not being able to think very clearly about me. I can see everybody else's problems very clearly, but I couldn't actually think very clearly about me. And I think mainly because I kind of didn't want to, because I was afraid of what I might see. And certainly the whole fear of failure, that has been a kind of ghost that has followed me around through my whole life. I mean, people call it imposter syndrome now, but when I was a kid, it was people like you don't do things like that. And that sticks in the back of your mind, and it is that kind of like little demon that kind of every now and again, when you think you're going to do something, it pops up and goes, oh no, people like you don't do things like this. And actually, you through the various, I think we discussed 5 points of contact I had with you, and each one of them was a step towards the final bit that absolutely changed my life. And I have it in my diary, 15th of January, and it's Damian Day, the day that Damian changed my life. It sounds very pat, and it does sound like I've been prompted to say this, but I absolutely haven't. You know, 15th of January is just a very special day in my calendar now, as a result of that.
Oh, thank you, Christine.
No problem. You're making me all feel very too, you know.